Having decided I need to practice oil sketches, and with us all social distancing, I thought I'd record my attempt and talk you through what I'm doing so you can try this at home if you wish. My canvas is a size 7 by 5 inches. I'm using oil paints, but you could also use acrylics if you prefer. I'm keeping to a basic palette with colours that can be found in most starter sets. I'm using burnt umber, cadmium red, cadmium yellow, ultramarine blue and white. I've mixed 2 versions of skin tone, a pinky one and an orangey one. Then I'm adding varying amounts of white to get 3 tones of each. I've mixed the blue and yellow for a green, and I've added white to that for a lighter tone, and I've mixed a black using the blue and brown. Let me know if you'd like a video of my colour mixing. Having mixed my colours, I'm plotting a rough outline, trying to get the basic proportions using my black. It's very loose at this stage. I'm just wanting to plot it onto the canvas. I'm now adding the colour, starting with full strength skin tone, no white. I'm blocking in the darkest areas with this. As I see a dark area on my reference, I'm adding the dark tone of my paint. I'm using the pinky tone at this stage. My reference is in black and white, so I'm basically making it up as I go along a bit. And now I'm moving on to the mid-tones. I'm doing the same. Now the light tones. So having covered the skin, I'm now using my finger and a scuffy brush to blend and to push the paint around the face and to fine tune it a bit. I'm blocking in the hair. I'm using the brown with small amounts of the yellow and red added to the mix in places. Now with a smaller brush, I'm adding some details to the features. I'm popping some of my green into some of the areas, plus I'm working on the eye. I'm using here the more orangey version of the skin tone. I think basically I forgot I had it on my palette and then thought, oh, I've mixed it, I ought to use it. I think it's this stage I start to get concerned about the size of her nose. Never mind, I can sort that out later. I'll just continue adding to the skin, adding details to the rest of the face, and I'll look at that later. So I'm adding details like the eyebrows, a few adjustments around the nose, the nostril. And I'm also adding the lips. The lips are the pinkier skin tone, full strength, with a tiny bit of red added, not too much, not too intense. and then a few lighter highlights. And now I'm blocking in her dress. I'm using a light, very pale version of the greeny colour I mixed for the majority of it, and I add a few darker shadow areas with darker bits of the green. I'm also adjusting the neck because that didn't look quite right. And then to block in the background, I've decided to use a light colour of the black. I added a little bit of blue to it, so it's sort of like a slightly pale, off bluey type of colour. And it's now that I'm able to adjust the shape of her face, adjust her profile. I'm able to take in a little bit from her nose and better define the area around her lips and chin. It's quite nice painting in the background and adjusting some of the bits you're not totally happy with the shape. And once I've done this, it's back to the face. I'm adjusting her nose a little bit, adding a bit of detail around her nostril, and I'm also adjusting the shading, adding some highlights on her cheek and defining the shapes around her mouth and her chin a bit better. I'm now a bit happier, but I am happier with her nose now. It seems to have brought it in, it's not quite as large. And I'm adding a little bit of pinky tone to her cheeks. This is where I'm just doing little adjustments which hopefully have big impacts. And it's here that I make my mistake with the eye. I should have left it alone, but it's very difficult to know when to stop. I added a highlight which I wanted to pop in there, but it didn't seem to work, so I've had to paint over that.